The Oh So Lovely Talk Show. The Oh So Lovely Talk Show.
So lovely.
So let's just kick off with you just doing a lovely little intro about who you are and a little bit of a background of your journey in the hairdressing industry to where you are now.
So, I am Lydia Wolfe, Tick, and I am the co-owner or co-founder of a hair salon that's based in the New Forest in Hampshire, and it's called Jack and Wolfe. And we've had that for 7 years. This month was when it all started. And previously to that, I worked in a salon also in Hampshire, in a city called Portsmouth, and that's kind of where I started my hairdressing journey when I was 19. And I just worked in one salon. And yeah, one day I needed to do something else. So salon seemed like the next part of the journey, I suppose. And well, no, I think it was my granddad sort of said to me, like, what's next? And he's a bit of like a patriarch in my family. He was like, what's next? You know, like you seem to be really successful at this. I was winning competitions and things on like an international level. And he was like, so what's next? And I never really dreamt of owning a salon, I'm ashamed to say. But he was like, well, if you come up with a business plan, I'll lend you some money. Which in my head, I thought would be like a substantial sum. It wasn't. It was a substantial sum to him. It's not really enough to open a salon with. But it started the cogs kind of turning. And then I met Jack Mead, who's my husband, and he was opening a salon. I was opening a salon. Escalated very quickly. He was like, do you want to come and work at my salon? And then within about a day, he was like, do you just want to come and put your money in and we'll just go twos on this? And we'd never met before. That's a whole different story. So I very impulsively opened a salon with like a total stranger. And it's been, like that was the biggest kind of career move that I've made. And learned a lot of things along the way. And I also do a lot of colour work and education and things, work for Goldwell and have done for a long time. And don't know what else to tell you, really. I'm a hairdresser.
Yeah, a lovely person. A mum.
And a mum, yes.
Yeah. I know how you feel about being kind of open about that and stuff. I am a mum. That's one of my
Say it proudly.
fave things about myself. Yeah.
So you've just said that obviously the biggest achievement so far is that you've opened a salon. You've literally just gone through a whole new sort of chapter with Jack and the Wolf. Just tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
So we started our salon, just me and Jack, just a little duo. And then we grew it and we grew it and we grew it. It's a pretty, amazing kind of achievement based on the amount of money that we started with, which was nothing. And then we about 2 years into owning our salon, we expanded and we took on a bunch of team, and we went from the two of us to 12 of us, and that was amazing for years. And it's obviously there's been staff kind of come and go within that team, but we had a real amazing employed core team. And really stuck with that through, I guess, the immersion of this debate. Self-employed, employed, our employers, taking advantage of teams. Is that an old-fashioned way of running a salon? But is self-employment kind of too self-centered? Are we losing apprentices because of this new self-employed thing? But we stuck with our guns on the employed thing, and then until, unfortunately, the government budget last year, we weren't in the most amazing financial place anyway. We opened a year before COVID.
I was going to mention that. It's quite a tricky time to open.
It's definitely been how long have you had your salon?
Well, I've had my salon for 4.5 years. So I opened coming out of the last pandemic. the last lockdown, should I say. So it's very interesting hearing your story because you did it just before. And I actually started in a little studio space with a friend, and he went from employed to self-employed, and then we went into lockdown. And then it was just like, fuck, and so that made me find the salon that I'm in now. But it has been a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, wow, fair play to you, like doing it in the middle of all the craziness. I think, in retrospect, knowing what I know now, if I'd known that we were going to go into that, things would have been very different. So we opened the salon, just before, like 1 year before lockdown. And then obviously COVID hit. Then we had the energy crisis, which was, like crippling, to be honest. The amount that our bills went up. Then, we had like a financial crisis. And then, we found ourselves in a position where if we didn't switch to a self-employed model because of the new, basically like the new tax implications for us and the size of our team and the amount that we were paying our team, then we were going to be running at a loss and we just wouldn't be able to survive probably like this year. We'd probably be gone by the end of this year. So we just thought, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to sink or swim? Are we going to give this a go and try and switch to a self-employed model? Because we looked at our figures and we were like, right, yeah, we could make it work if we did that, as in we could make it so we can break even if we did that. And have we got the fight left in us after all of this and to make it work? But I think, we built such like an amazing team of people. Yeah. You feel such a massive obligation to their well-being and you can't switch that off. I know that people are like, oh, business is business and stuff, but you just can't switch that off. So we really worked out, like, how can we do this, make it work so that don't have to close, but also make it so that they get as much of the benefits of being employed that we can create in a self-employed environment. Yeah. So it took a lot of number crunching and it took us months as well, like months and months. I literally worked out how much our salon cost to run, like, per minute. Yeah. So we could work out what was the bare minimum that we would have to take to open the salon doors. Yeah. And what we've done is that we moved over in April and it's been a really like rocky few months of just trying to work it out. Everyone working out. There's the stylist finding their feet, us finding our feet, me basically being like a 24-hour helpline because people's queries are just coming in all the time. You never really know what it's going to be because we're all learning together. But yeah, we're 7 months in now. Right. I feel like we've finally got to a place where we can sort of like celebrate it and be like, this is going to work.
I think it's a very positive move. I think, you've looked at where you're at and you're looking at your future and you need to make it work. And actually, there's a lot of businesses going either into a hybrid situation or going into self-employed models. And I opened as a self-employed model, but also now sort of negotiating a hybrid version to make sure I support younger people coming into the industry as well. So I think it's a really positive move for you guys. And so you should be really proud of yourselves. Thank you. How did you find navigating it with the team? Was that tough or? Yeah,
it was really tough. Because quite frankly, they were happy being employed. And if they could have kept their situation, they would have. It wasn't their choice to do it. So what we did was we told them, and this might not have been the right thing to do because maybe we encouraged a bit of fear that we weren't able to like manage, but we told them about our financial situation when we found it out, because we basically were like, right, this is probably going to happen, guys. We're probably going to have to switch to a self-employed model, but we don't really know what that's going to look like yet. We just want to be transparent with you that things aren't okay in the bank, which is something that I will speak for. Like I've been very transparent about finances with my team, and as a result, there's never any kind of misinterpretation about where the business is at and how hard work it is, like, make it work. And that's why I think we're a good team, because they understand the sacrifices and the responsibilities and stuff. But yeah, so we got like an accountant to come and do like business management and financial management coaching with them, teach them exactly how. We made them like a checklist of what they needed to do to go self-employed, and also what measures they needed to take once they went self-employed to make it work for them financially, you know, to be like, right, okay, you need to put this kind of money aside for tax. That's what your tax is roughly going to look like. But can we recommend you pay for an accountant as well? Our accountant said that he would do like a special deal for all of them if they wanted to like keep him on, you know, as to help them with their taxes at the end of the year, but also just give them advice and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, put that money aside to do that because I really, really recommend it. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And yeah, like I say, we managed it so that there would be as few things that they would have to sacrifice. So the way that they buy colour from us, for instance, is that we buy the colour and they pay for it per gram that they dispense and stuff. So they're not having the whole like massive shock of the stock holding and all of that, and get, you know, going to Sally's for the first time when you go self-employed and being like, oh my god, this is how much it actually costs. We used to tip it just in, just free for it. But so they haven't had to deal with those kinds of things, and that was all something that we worked on like really, really hard to like, because I wanted to keep them, you know, I didn't want them to be like, oh well, thanks so much for the offer, but I'm off, you know. So all of them have given it a good try.
Sounds like a really nice transition for them. And from what I'm hearing from you, like you've created a really like supportive environment, and that just sounds lovely. And I think the honesty that you bring, I think says a lot. And I think that's why you have such a loyal team, because I've worked for many corporations, companies where, you know, you do just have this unrealistic idea of how the business runs. You don't really know how it runs. And that's when you feel less of a team, don't you? I think with that.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for misinterpretation because you probably think, I mean, I can't speak for larger salon groups and stuff like that. I don't know what their finances look like, but you know, I think there is this misinterpretation that the salon owner probably like has a house in Spain and a nice car and all of that sort of thing. And the fact is, like, we're the last to get on the property ladder, you know. For us anyway, in this climate and stuff, and don't, you know, me and Jack are mortgages paid by social media income, like social media influencer income. That's we don't take at the moment, we don't take a wage at all from the salon, unfortunately, because we're just building back up again. But you know, it's nice that they understand that, because there's no like misinterpretation of well, I just remember like being a stylist and putting money in the till and being like, so much money.
I know.
Like,
Where's my
cut? Yeah, but you don't understand that it literally goes.
Especially now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think the transparency, it did, like, if I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't have done it the way that I was so transparent, because it did stir a bit of panic. And then the problem is, like, people talk amongst themselves and stir each other up more, without maybe, like, we should have done it when we had a bit more facts and stuff. But we got there, and it was hard for them, because, you know, like, I think automatically that no matter how good the trust is between you, there is a level of mistrust. And there was a level of mistrust. I think they didn't believe some of the things that we were saying about, you know, I guess either like everything's going to be okay and you guys are going to make more money, you know, because that is a fact. They are making more money, but it's like, they probably didn't believe it, because they're probably thinking like it's too good to be true, and didn't believe that we would take as many sacrifices as we would take and do all of that for no reward, basically. But
is there a reason why you were being so you felt like you needed to be transparent? Do you work with a lot of friends, or do you feel like you've got this bond or a type of relationship that
exactly that? Like, over the years, they have become like members of my team, for instance, like my manager, you know, has become my right hand and my speaking board and stuff. So that's kind of where it's at. It's like I almost need to say things out loud to kind of hear back that I'm not going crazy, or that, like, I guess I don't trust myself sometimes, you know. So I need to kind of like speak it out loud to hear it reflect back at me. And I know that I've never had a boss like that before who would be that transparent and things, but it's worked for me because I actually think that it creates a bit of empathy and understanding and respect. It creates a bit of respect that goes both ways, because I, like yourself, I am a hybrid as well, in that we take apprentices and then we keep them employed for their first year of qualification, and then we offer them to stay self-employed if they want to. So we give them like a fixed year contract, and at the end of that contract, if they want to stay with us, they get their first year half price to also help them grow. So we've got like a little, as long as we can keep that, I will try and keep that. But again, when I was an apprentice, again, you think like your boss is this really mega successful thing, and have to explain like it's the social media stuff that pays the bills for us. We just do it because we love it, like honestly.
So I think what's really interesting that you've obviously gone through such a massive transition. You've opened up a salon, you've changed the business model, you've been transparent, you're working with people who you're really good friends with. How do you manage your boundaries and also your mental health with that? Sort of like, because it must take a massive toll, especially working with your business partner. Oh, sorry. Marriage to your business partner.
Is your, yeah, totally. Oh, it is not sunshine and roses for sure. I think in terms of boundaries, I got to a really good point with boundaries. I think it's easier to get to a good point with boundaries when you're like in a secure place, in an employed model, like financial business, because I could kind of say, guys, like, and don't contact me if it's anything work related. I mean, contact me if it's like stupid memes and you just want to make me laugh. Like, anytime of day. But if it's work related, do not contact me about anything work related on my days off, because I physically, like, I need to separate myself for at least 2 days a week. And I could do that because I had a manager as well who could be me when I wasn't there and stuff. I don't have that anymore. So, and now they're paying the rent, they're my customers, essentially. It flips. So I have let go of that, and they can obviously contact me about work like 24/7, and that is hard. I think my boundaries have gone. But that being said, it was just the same when I started my business for the first time. You do hustle like 24 hours a day at the beginning. So I'm just seeing it as that. I've just started a new business again. So I'm just in that like hustle phase. When it evens out a little bit, I can put some boundaries in, but I can't really be like, oh, you can't contact me on X day, because that's the day that I work from home on my other businesses, because there's no one else to be there for me. And so it can't just be like pure chaos for a day because I'm not there. So I have to let those boundaries down, but in my head it's temporary.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like working with your husband, and it's a very, very interesting transition at the moment, because we're like really trying it for the first time to like part ways on a business level. Because it's just been just work is life all the time, otherwise you can't help it, because you go home like to your partners, right? Are your partners in the hairdressing industry? Or?
No,
absolutely not.
And you go home and you have like a little event, don't you, and a decompress about work. And maybe like you share some funny stories about like, oh my God, I've got this client, she's so inspiring, or you're like, oh my God, this, that, and you need that, but like they don't absorb it because it's not their responsibility, and they need to do the same for you, right? So they can like vent about their work, but you don't absorb it and you don't carry any of it. Whereas we can't help it. Like we literally try and fix whatever the other person's problem is. So if it's like, oh, my client, this is this, I'll go into panic mode and be like, right, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to email this person to like manage that situation? Or like, okay, maybe I need to create a whole new structure that's going to like mean that doesn't happen in the future. And we just go on like a spiral. But that's been the case, for like 7 solid years. We haven't really had a relationship where it's not work. To the point, sadly, where like even talking about creative stuff was stressful. Because it's like, it's still hair, We couldn't even show each other a video of like beautiful hair without being like, oh, do you know what? I just don't want to look at hair. Like, for God's sake.
Leave me alone.
Which is a shame, isn't it? But hopefully now that we're like kind of parting ways on a business level, Yeah.
That is tricky. Like Ollie and I on the train on the way here were just talking about how like sometimes I'll do admin from home and my husband will come down and he'll start talking to me and I am incredibly rude because I'm like, I'm busy actually. This is, but I can do that and he kind of understands that I'm a bit of a bitch. So that's fine. But that's really difficult because in your side, you're married, so there's that relationship there, but also sometimes you've also got another baby, which is your business. And if there is something legit, a discussion that needs to be had, you can't just be like, I'm busy. Like that's not, you can't really do that.
I do. I put like a little out of office sign in my head. No, my eyes glaze over and he knows there's no one home. So yeah.
How do you, so obviously at the minute you're going to try and work your business, you can go slightly different ways. If you were going to give advice to anyone that is in a similar boat, like maybe working with a partner or close relationship, are there any kind of boundaries that you could put in place that you think that would make it work better?
One of the first pieces of advice that I got opening a salon was from somebody who famously owned a salon with their husband, and she said define your roles really early on, so that you don't have to be in each other's, like there's no who's done that, like neither of us have done it, well I thought you were going to do it, I thought you were going to do it. You don't have to like worry about each other's things, you just have your things, which is amazing advice, and I've never done it. And 7 years later I haven't done that, but
great advice.
Resolution. Great advice. And I do think it's true, because if you were, I like to think of my tiny business as like a big corporation. And I think like, right, okay, what roles, do you have in a corporate business? Like you have a CEO and a CFO, and then you have a HR department, and then you have somebody who inventorizes the stationery and whatever. But I like to think, right, well, we need all of those roles, right, but just not in like the same way. So who's going to fill those roles and stuff? And we did try and define our roles a little bit. I think that it just naturally like changed over time, who was kind of better at things. Also, some people might call me a control freak. I like to think that I am the most laid back person in the whole wide world. But I do have a real problem with delegation. So like if I do delegate something and then it's not done to like the standard that's in my head, I do just go back and do it again, and he hates that. So I think that the only way that we've really probably can do it is if he's essentially a co-founder and that he's like a shareholder. And he can have like shareholder meetings with me. And he can come and ask me about my life choices, and I'll say it's none of your business.
In the meeting.
Because you don't help me with all the stuff that you don't like, so you don't get to put your nose in. That would be something new for us. We'll see. See how it goes.
But it's definitely, when I had a business partner, the bit that probably made our relationship break down was the fact that we were like stepping on each other's toes. So we had these, ideas on who would do which part of the business, but actually if you don't stick to that, then there can be issues, can't there? So there needs to, I genuinely do believe that in most cases you do need to have one person kind of having most of the say. I think it's really difficult to have two people completely, because otherwise, unless you're going to have other people come in to give their opinion as well.
I think that one thing that I've seen work in duos, whether you're in a relationship or not, is if one of them isn't a hairdresser and one of them is. Because I think just naturally as hairdressers, we do have like this creativity sparking out that makes you want to like better your business too, and so who's going to contain their creativity and let the other person's creativity flow in perfect unison. Like there's just not many times when that's going to be the case. Like if you have an art team, you have a creative director, don't you? Because you need that, because if everyone's creativity is like shining at the same amount, it's going to look shit. So I think that I have seen it work, the duos, when one of them's like the back office and one of them's allowed to just be creative and like buy nice new chairs, make it look pretty, and like all of that stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, because I think actually if I think of just as a marriage, like generally in most scenarios, we know I'm right.
Basically.
And that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Actually, someone needs to back down at some point. And that's
I am the creative director of this marriage.
I love that for you. What's your star sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Okay, interesting.
Liam.
Okay.
I'm obviously saying this. There are many things that Josh will put his foot down on. It's really annoying, but you know, you've got to allow it
challenged,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be challenged, gotta be humbled every now and then.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with a friend and it's been too difficult and it's not been possible? It's made it really difficult.
I actually don't think I can relate to this conversation in the same way as you guys can, because I've always made my friends at work.
Right.
So all of my friends are hairdressers, and all of my best friends for life are people that I've met in work situations, like hairdressing situations, including the guy that I'm married is a hairdresser. But yeah, obviously, like when you're that close in the workspace, there is headbutting.
Yeah.
But I've never gone into business with so I am friends with all of my, employees / self-employed, and I have really good relationships with them. But at the end of the day, they came into my life as my chair renter or employee. So there's always going to be that like barrier between you. You know, there's always going to be that group chat that you're not in.
Yeah.
But and then either that or I've met people at work where we've both been stylists together and then we've stayed friends. And my like best mate is a hairdresser, and we met at work. And I think that in a dream world, because we worked so well together at the salon, we would have gone into business together, but the stars aligned that didn't happen. And knowing what I know now about working with my husband, I don't believe that we would have worked together that well. Because I know what the challenges are. But when you're a stylist together and you're both like, oh my God, we have exactly the same like ideas of what we want an amazing business to be, and we can like create something amazing together. But actually the nitty-gritty is such an untold story until you get there, which again is why I'm like super transparent in life in general, because I don't want people to have false ideas of like everything being great, when actually it's like if I'd known some of the information that I knew now before I started and not had such like starry eyes about things, I probably would have gone in a little bit differently.
But it sounds, you've gone into business and you have had challenges. So you obviously had lockdown, and then you obviously had to deal with all of the financial additions that have been put into place. But you have still kept going, and you've obviously got a drive to keep going, and you're not easily kind of pushed down. What is it, do you think, that makes you go, actually, I'm not just going to close this salon down and, do something else, roll over and, I don't know, become a vodka distributor
bar
person.
Yeah, bar girl.
What is it that makes you keep going?
Now you have asked a question I don't know the answer to be honest, because I just like, we were talking about this the other day, me and Jack. We're super, super different personalities in that he would, and it's not a negative thing about him actually, it will sound negative, but it isn't a negative thing. I actually admire this. He does like cut people out of his life. He's had a bit of a rocky road in life, and so he's a little bit more, I don't know, like he's a bit more of a fighter, and if you have harmed me, that's fine, but you're nothing to me. Whereas I think that I don't know whether it's like my upbringing or something, or my need to be like liked by other people or something, but I will work at something, whether it benefits me or not, and say like a toxic relationship or something, I would never be the one to end it. I would always be the one like just chugging along with it like forever, even though when it's over it's like, oh my God, best thing ever. But I think I'm probably, that's how I feel in the business, is that Jack, I think, would, if this was his thing, the challenges that happened ages ago probably would have been his side to turn around, and but it's my kind of like, no, we gotta keep going, and that's not to say like he's he has tried to turn his back on it before. I know that he still feels like a lot of desire to make it work, but I think that my desire to make it work is comes from a weird place. We have noticed that if you tell me that I can't do something, it is like the perfect rocket fuel for me. So maybe that's what it is like every time something happens, like the government or life or the government or
Always
the government and makes it hard, I'm like, okay, this will be my chance to like fight through it.
That's really, really inspiring, actually, because I resonate with that. Because if someone tells me I can't do something, I think it's the Leo in me. I'm like,
fire signs. I'm an Aries.
Are you?
Mm.
Yeah. I get that. Immediately, there's an element of like fear and panic, and then I'm like, I'm not going to let anyone make me feel like that. What am I going to do about it? So I totally resonate with that.
Have you watched the Victoria Beckham documentary?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was telling my client the other day, I was like, I really resonated with it. I really resonate with Victoria Beckham, you know, pop star, like global superstar, one of the like most famous people in the world. I just really resonated with her. There were just a couple of things where I was like, in fact, I called it. I was like, I think she's an Aries. She is 17th of April. Because of that, she's very like stoic with sticking with things, whether it benefits her or not, or makes her happy. And I don't know, maybe you need those people in life, to keep the world turning.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like to you if something doesn't succeed? Like do
you know what? I've never ever felt that. I don't think I've ever felt like a failure. I think that I've got pretty low expectations for myself. That's true. It's true. Keep them low, and they're not always achievable, right?
But I think also the fact that you keep going, you keep going until you make it work.
Yeah.
So then it's
that's
not
kind of
going
how
to fail.
I feel.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's delusion, you know. It's like, oh, I didn't not win. I just this is just like the next step to the thing that was meant to be.
I love that.
The most successful people are people that keep going. So
that's successful people are the people that ignore the failures in their life and just pretend they never happened.
Well, being in the industry, you know, I know we already know you've pushed through and you've achieved amazing things, but it's not always easy to get there. What do you think have been the hardest things that you've had to kind of fight against while working in the industry?
So, I mean, do you know, I love all of the things that you guys touch on in the podcast are things that I feel like I really resonate, you know, barriers that the industry has that people don't necessarily talk about. And, you know, of course, there's still amazing opportunities through those things, but I do think we should talk a little bit more openly. And I love what you guys are doing here with just like honest and frank conversations. But one of the like the worst things I have ever been through in life in general happened a couple of years ago, and a client threatened to sue us, or specifically sue me.
Wow.
And that was awful, frankly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was, I mean, like a little bit of context for it. It was a colour that had to, it was a colour that got booked in with another stylist and was maybe like a bit of a rushed service, it tried to squeeze an appointment in that just was maybe a bit too ambitious in the time. And then there was no other opportunities to fix it other than for me to come and do it. And I was quite happy. It sort of escalated into, and there's breakage around the front. And that was when my like heart dropped. Because you think, right, that's a different story, right? Because we're going from, I don't like my colour, which is like, okay, that's awful. Let me see how we can fix that and get better longevity on the result. I can deal with that. But when you're talking about damage, I mean, bear in mind, like, she was really, really nice to me on the phone. I was nice to her. I thought we had a good thing going. And she called back the salon later and she was like, what products have been used on my hair? And I gave a list. I was quite happy for her to research. I mean, use really good, high quality products. And that is kind of when it all went downhill, because I got an email back, saying I've contacted the company who uses this colour and they said that you've applied it wrong, I'm taking this further. But yeah, it was like, from there, I just spiraled for months. It was months of backwards and forwards. Essentially, this person didn't have grounds to say anything. And when, I had to get lawyers involved, obviously, to find out how I was going to protect myself. Already tried to come to the salon without having a skin test.
Right.
And so I was starting to see a pattern here, of maybe this could be something that they've done before. And there was like, this person had no social media presence, wasn't using a real name, all of these things that had to make me think, potentially, you're quite vulnerable to these people who maybe do this more, but like I lost so much weight. I developed a twitch in my eye, like a permanent twitch. I couldn't sleep. And every day was like a blur, because I just literally like wondered what was going to happen next, because you're kept on this string of like, is this person going to take you to court? Is this person not? And there was a game happening where I was like, I got myself ready for court. And every time I was like, right, okay, let's do this. They would like ghost me and stuff. So we got it to a point where the lawyers were like, but the legal advice people, they are brutal. They tell you how it is, and it isn't always what you want to hear, which is actually what you need in that situation, in that like panic moment. But yeah, one day the legal advice helpline were just like, look, this has gone on too long. You need to put them in a position where it's make or break now. So yeah, we had to be like, look, here's a letter. Basically, you need to take this to mediation. We see where that goes. And then yeah, she backed down and was like, I don't actually want to take this to court. And now it's been more than 18 months. There can't be any legal
repercussions.
But yeah, what it did was it completely like took my brain out of my job for to like lawyers, literally thinking I was going to lose my whole business, whilst finding out that I'd finalised for something that I'd worked like my whole life for.
Conflicting.
So sad. Because I didn't want it anymore. I just didn't want a salon anymore. I didn't want to be a hairdresser anymore. It's probably taken me 2 years to come out of that, of not wanting to be a hairdresser anymore.
How long did the whole kind of legal process, how much of your time do you think was spent? That is such
a good question, because from beginning to end, it probably wasn't that long. But I couldn't tell you, because I was just in such a bubble. I couldn't tell you how many months it went on, maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe a little bit longer.
And how did you cope? Like, did you have, I know you obviously had sort of legal support from the National Hair and Beauty Federation, but what else did you kind of tap into to try and keep yourself above water and try and keep your sanity?
I probably just went to work.
Yeah.
And tried to keep a normal life. I mean, like as a parent, right, you have to do that. That probably helps with your sanity. Like when you have the flu and you're a parent, you don't really get to have the flu because you've still got to be up and be there for them, don't you? So I guess it's the same with like, your mental health, and like you still have to like get up and go, and you still have to like go do nice things on the weekends with your family, and you still have to look after clients, although I think I lost clients in that time,
Right.
because I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that there were just times when my brain was so completely somewhere else that I was literally just automatically doing hair. I wasn't really talking to people, and I probably was a shell of myself. I don't think that I was the kind of person you would want to book a hair appointment with, because I just wasn't there. But yeah, I think it's just getting through it. I did obviously speak to like a doctor and stuff, because I was like, this is quite extreme, like anxiety response. But yeah, I didn't.
I think the thing is, like, that's a really traumatic experience, and it kind of depends on where you are at the time when how you deal with it. And like you mentioned, you don't necessarily know the timing, and I guess the timing doesn't really matter, because actually the trauma happens. That trauma could happen and be a day, but it's like how long it takes after that to recover. And like that is a lot, there's so many things that were probably triggered by that. Like, it's something that happened in your own space, it's a business you've built, you've done everything right, but yet still, you're kind of treated badly, and ultimately that could have ended everything for you. So I, quite rightfully so, I understand why that would be probably one of the most traumatic experience you could go through. I think as well, going through a legal situation like that, it's horrible. Like I've done it myself, slightly different situation, but it's like it can change you as a person, I think.
Which is so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, because of course
it's not you'll never be that person that you were before you went through that trauma again, and it's like I feel sad for that person before.
Do you feel that, like, now obviously you're able to speak about it, so I think that's obviously a really good sign that you're kind of coming out on the other side. Do you feel like, what do you think sometimes, you think that there are lessons learned with these stuff, like with these things? Is there anything like from that you would take away that?
Oh, hell yeah, definitely. I mean, it was an instant lesson learned. It's like, never ever take your best practices for granted. We went from having all our best practices in place to having all our best practices like signed, dotted, ultra non-negotiable. When it comes to form filling and skin testing and strand testing and all that kind of stuff. And my other big lesson was, like, again, it was the transparency thing. I did think, when I'm legally allowed to talk about it. So this was, I reckon we're probably in that time, I did speak to other people about it, because it was my whole like brain power and everything that was going on in my mind at the time. When people come and ask you how you are, I don't know if you've ever had it before, but like when people ask you how you are and you literally like can't not answer saying, because I know it's not nice to trauma dump, right?
Yeah.
But when you're like, oh yeah, I'm good apart from, and like I'd probably crack a joke about it, be like, yeah, someone tried to see me, but otherwise I'm fine. And I spoke to a couple of people who are like really, really big, incredible names in our industry about it. And both of them were like, oh, it's happened to me loads of times.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, amazing. I can't tell you how great that feels, because you're like, oh, you feel like the only person in the world. You feel like the worst person in the world. You literally feel so unlucky, but you also feel like it was definitely your fault. Like you must have done something wrong.
Yeah.
And I did know, in fact, another salon owner local to me, who I didn't really know that well at the time, but I know that he'd been through something similar and he had gone to court, and he'd sort of touched on that once in a conversation. And I sort of said, oh, like, help. And he ended up being heavy hitters in our industry that everybody looks up to. They're like, oh yeah, it's happened to me all the time. I think, oh my God, like that is like a weight off my shoulders. If I know that I'm not the only person, I just think, like when I'm ready, I am going to talk about this very openly with people, so that people, even when it does happen, you absolutely could not avoid it, you know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that this is actually way more common than you think, like way more common.
Yeah.
And it isn't just you. And we are vulnerable to it, especially like when you're flicking through YouTube and you've got like adverts coming up being like, well, you can do a no-win, no fee claim today on any hair and beauty treatment in the last X amount of years, that you just think, God, like, we don't make enough money, you know, to be like attacked again. You know, we're all just trying to survive. We're all hustling. We're all just trying to make people feel good and like, give people beautiful hair and be the best that we can be at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think out of everything, being sued or like someone having like an allergic reaction or something are probably the most kind of, I don't know, things that you kind of fear the most, I think, probably as a hairdresser. So being able to kind of get through that, I think, is amazing. I think you're completely right. I don't think it is spoken about enough because there is this fear, but people don't like to talk about it because maybe there's a stigma, because it will then maybe, I don't know, make you seem not good, or I don't know. But I think the more people that speak about it, it will make more people aware of the fact that it is common and there are ways to deal with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean because that's happened that your business is failing or any of those things. So I think you definitely should do that when you've you know, that would be a really good thing to come out of this.
Yeah,
Real positive.
Yeah.
Lydia, it's been amazing having you on board to the So Lovely talk show. We could talk to you for ages now. I could feel like we've only just started.
I know, exactly. We're like, can we do 5 more hours? 5 more hours.
That's lush. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'd love to have you back at some point in the future, perhaps to maybe go a bit deeper in something else.
Yeah, for sure. And like find out where you're going. I know this is the beginning of your new journey within the salon. So it'll be great to see where it takes you. And obviously we would love to hear where your coaching goes or dealing with situations like this that we discussed. But it has been absolutely amazing having you here. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And I think our listeners will really gain a lot from listening to this. So thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, I was really humbled that you asked me, and I'd love to hear more about you. So should we all go for coffee?
Let's go.
Sounds great.
Interview you guys.
Exactly. We love an interview. So
thank you so much. It's such a pleasure, and I am really humbled to be here. So thank you.
Thank you.
The So Lovely talk show. The So Lovely talk show.
So lovely.